So today I want to talk about some most basic things in GMAT critical reasoning. The belief I have regarding to critical reasoning is that this is not just some test that you will just need to do for the sake of the test. You can learn to improve your reasoning skill from here, which can benefit you further on, like either it's in the school or even in your professional life. So let's hope that's what learning critical reasoning now can actually help you with. Okay, first we need to figure out what is test, what is measured in this type of question. There are three abilities requested here. First one is your ability to make the argument. When you try to convince someone the facts you need, and then the point you try to make, or opinion you try to make other people to believe in too. Second one, to evaluate argument. That will mean like if someone else present their argument to you as a manager, you probably need to do that already in a daily basis. So based on their written arguments, you need to see their logic between their facts and their opinion, their points. So if that argument is sound, that's evaluating argument. And finally, your ability to formulate or evaluate a plan of action, right? Like having meeting and plan your next move, that's the thing we need to do every day. And how to evaluate, how to form and evaluate a plan that either you make or some other people made. So that is the third and final skill you will be tested here. Okay. So can someone just turn off your sound there, because I can hear my voice. Okay, so in the way to test it is through different types of questions. When you are making an argument, what you stated out is the premise. That is the reason, and also the point you're making. That is your position. And what is not stated out is the assumption. So that is the facts or the reason that you think must be true, so that you get to your point. Yeah, but it is not actually stated in the argument. So that is the first question type. When you are making your argument, this concept will appear. And the second one is strengthen. So this is again, when you are making an argument, strengthen is like adding one more information to your arguments. And then move on to evaluating arguments, right? For evaluation definitely falls into that category. When you see this argument from other people, how you would think, what is the key question to ask them, so that you know if this argument is a good one or a bad one. And also after you evaluate it, there are two ways, two directions. One is weaken here, which just appeared, and the other one is strengthen, which already appeared in making the argument. So that is saying strengthen type of question, it does not only just helps you with making the argument, but it also comes into picture when you are evaluating other people's argument too. So that are the most frequently tested 4 types of question and how they are related to the skills or abilities that are being tested. So after this new change to the GMAT, now we have 36 questions, and 10 will be critical reasoning. Out of the 10, these big 4 will account about 6 to 7 of that. So that's the majority of the problem, critical reasoning problem you need to tackle. And these 4, the 60 or 70% of the problem, they can be tackled in with the same kind of method, because they share something in common. The reason I put them there together is that all of these 4 types of question, the stimulus, which is the first the paragraph of words that comes at first in the CR question. So yeah, those stimulus or the argument. The stimulus is the argument. So there are 2 types of the stimulus. One is called argument, and the other one is called fact set. And in argument, as I mentioned before, the reasons you have is the premise here, and assumption is an unstated premise, which will not be seen in the argument that appears at your screen, but definitely that's something the author thinks so that he or she can get to the opinion or the conclusion the author made at the end of, or at the end of the argument or in the argument. Yes, and conclusion is a subjective kind of thing. It's someone's opinion, and that is the point this person wants to make. So this structure is the structure of the stimulus of these 4 types of questions. And when we're dealing with these types of questions, actually everything from this page, I took it from the official guides. So they already give us a very good way to try to tackle this problem. So let's go through what they already suggested us to do. First, read carefully the statements, which is the stimulus or the argument we have mentioned before. And what you will see in the argument is, number 1, put forward as a factual information, that is premise or reason. Number 2, what is not said but necessarily follows from what is said. If you have been listening and you understand, that is the assumption. And then next step will be to be able to identify conclusion. And in order to do that, 2 things need to come into play. One is what we call indicators. Like for conclusion, most commonly seen indicator would be therefore, thus, and clearly. So you can use indicators to help you, but that is only one way. The other way would just to read through the whole argument and to see, because if a sentence is a fact and if a sentence is an opinion, they definitely has different color to it. So throughout the practice we do in class, we will gradually learn the difference between fact and opinion. Based on my experience with formal students, so fact is kind of like easy to be identified, but opinion sometimes could be tricky. Sometimes people will have a hard time to see, okay, which one is the actual conclusion. So that is some kind of practice or skill we need to harness. Okay. Next step will be to read the questions term to figure out which type of the question we are tackling here. Like if it's a weaken, strengthen, assumption, or evaluation. And finally, you need to read all the answer choices carefully because like all the other question types in GMAT, you need to choose one out of 5. So like that's the best out of these 5. That means you need to know, what the 5 are, and then you can make your choice. Okay, so that is what we have been told in official guide. This one is the steps I will walk through as we, learning it for the first time, doing our homework. Yeah, and that this kind of method is what I want you to have when you are tackling a critical reasoning problem.